Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Welcome to another day of PMWI Scrims, brought to you by Esports Mania. My name is Imperium, and I'm here to bring you all of the action. To be fair, let's be straight up. I'm here to take you through all of the action that's going to unfold. These are our scrims to help prepare the teams for the upcoming PUBG Mobile World Invitational, which is, of course, a $3 million charity prize pool tournament. And I just want to stress that the event is a charity event. Yeah? It is there to raise and provide charity money for charities across the world. Yeah? That's what the PMWI event is all about. And these scrims are just to give a little bit of extra preparation, because at the end of the day, yeah, the event is about charity first and foremost, but it doesn't hurt to have the teams playing at their best in the event and providing fantastic level of entertainment. And part of how they get to that point is by playing in scrims against each other, getting to know each other's play styles a little bit more, even though quite a good few of these teams are already pretty familiar with each other. Now, let me just turn my own volume down a tiny bit. I think I'm a little bit too loud. The list of teams that we do have for today, there is some non-PMWI teams in today's scrims, unfortunately, just because with the PMNC going on and just there's so much PUBG Mobile action that it can be tough to get all of the teams together in scrims in the lead up to a tournament. So the list of teams is we do have BIGETRON, BTR, Valdus, Zeus, DRS. Yes, they're playing today because they were playing the PMNC, the PUBG Mobile National Championship Nepal yesterday. So they couldn't participate in the scrims yesterday, but they are here today. We have DS Gaming, we Reject, NASR Esports, the Xavier, BLACKLIST International, Team Myths, who was pretty impressed with yesterday, Geek Fam, CONQUERORS, EVOS REBORN, RRQ, Victim SOVERS, GENISIS DOGMA, and ICURD Esports. So the last one, two, oh, and then we will have Stalwart Esports for the last 3 games. So you know what, the last Geek Fam, CONQUERORS, EVOS, RQ, Victim, and Genesis, they're all non-PMWI teams, but I do know for a fact that they are pretty damn high standard. So I still think they're going to provide a hell of a lot of entertainment in these scrims. Of course, you know, want to make sure that that people realize that Sorry, just had to do something real quick. Make sure that the chat is kept clean and that we're all doing our best to support each other. We are going to be getting into this first game soon enough. I know that much. And I'm pretty excited, to be fair. I'm very excited indeed. Don't forget to, obviously, if you can, share the stream. Let everybody know that these games are happening. And if they want to check out some pretty intense PUBG Mobile action, you can. First teams that I'm looking out for myself. Can't argue with BTR. They shone in yesterday's Miramar game. Valdus, man, very exciting team. Very exciting team. I pointed out yesterday how they've improved, how they seem to have stepped up to the plate. And yeah, I'm definitely impressed with them. Zeus, can't deny how aggressive they are. DRS, they have that wealth of experience over the last 6 or 8 months where I really think that they've evolved their gameplay. I do think they still sometimes lack that kind of late game teamwork. Whether it is, when I say late game teamwork, I mean in terms of keeping multiple players alive up until the late game. It kind of feels like they tend to have that mid game where they lose 2 or 3 players, and that last player, don't get me wrong, can get a fantastic result, and that's always noteworthy. But sometimes it feels like if they just have a bit of a safer mid game, more calculated mid game, that late game with a full squad or 3 players up can be a lot more beneficial, a lot more successful. So that's kind of my viewpoint on them. DS Gaming, Korean side, definitely being impressed with them, to be fair. The push, the level of aggression, plus they do have a pretty decent amount of experience themselves, to be fair. Reject, Japanese team, absolutely love the boys. Divine yesterday, unfortunately mollying himself after grabbing a kill and taking his own life in that Miramar game feels bad, man, indeed. NASR Esports, look, this is a team. NASR Esports have been within the PUBG Mobile esports spectrum since pretty much the start, right? So the name NASR Esports holds a lot. I think that they reached the heights of success that they probably should be reaching? No, I don't think so. However, in terms of that rich history, it's there. And it's there for a reason. You know, cannot argue with it. Cannot argue with it at all. The Xavier. Hey, absolutely loving the look of these guys. I think there's obviously things that they're missing. And here's the thing. There is something to note where a good few of these teams are having to deal with maybe higher ping than usual, and that does affect how you kind of play, how you play the game, how you come into it. So if that's the case, sorry to hear that, but if you're able to adapt, then in due time it's going to be happy days for you, so to speak. Team Myths, can't go wrong with them. And let's have a little bit of a talk about the teams that aren't in PMWI. I'm just okay, that aren't in PMWI but are here in these scrims. EVOS Reborn, they're giants in their own right? Have they maybe not lived up to the expectations? Yeah, probably. I would argue, but in terms of, you know, being reborn, no pun intended, and, you know, maybe setting themselves up for a lot of success in the second half of the year and grabbing that all-elusive PMGC spot, it's there for them, 110%. A little bit similar with Geek fam, although there's something where they're missing something. Always, and I know that's such a generic thing to say of missing something, but until you watch a team all the time, it can be quite difficult to yeah, it can be quite difficult to kind of pinpoint elements of a team that really isn't working out the best, so to speak. Oh man, we are just waiting for this first game to start. It should start soon enough. Waiting for the last players to join the lobby. Just gonna try and find out when this game is starting. Yeah, pretty exciting. RQ, I was pretty happy with how they played yesterday at times. For a lobby that they might not have as much experience against with these international teams, and there's some real sparkling moments that I saw them pull out in terms of team fights. And yeah, they definitely looking forward to them. And then there's the teams that, look, honestly, I don't really have too much experience on. That would be, you know, Victim SOVERS and GENISIS DOGMA. I really don't have that much experience over them, so it's cool that I'm getting to cast these teams and get the experience from my side as well. What? That was weird. I got some weird sound in my microphone, in my headset. Luckily, it didn't come through on your end, but I got some weird sound on my headset. Either way, we are going to be getting into this game soon enough. All the players are in the lobby, to be fair. It's loaded in. So, yeah, let's get ready to get this show on the road. I'm going to switch away from my terrible looking face. I'm going to switch over to the game. Of course, let me know if the in-game volume isn't loud enough, if it's too loud, so I can kind of adjust it accordingly. Have it up at a certain level. I can always turn it down or up as it is needed. Super curious to see what the playing path is going to give us. Starting on ERANGEL for game 1, of course. Then we're going to be having game 2 in Miramar, game 3 in ERANGEL, and then game 4 in Sanhok. Definitely having double ERANGEL is the best way to have it. Spawn Island do be looking pretty beautiful from a distance, if I do say so myself. I would love to. I'd love if the algorithm allowed for the circle to end on Spawn Island, just for, you know, that kind of level of toxicity. It'd be absolutely brilliant. To be honest, it'd be absolutely brilliant. Fortunately, it's not the case. I sympathize with teams in very awkward circles, but I'm also evil, so I like to yeah, I like to think evil thoughts. Shout out to everybody that is watching right now. Much love to you all. Okay, so it is interesting. Do I not hear the in-game sound? Interesting. Let me turn the music down anyway. Huh. Let me just have a look at something here. But it's so weird. Ah, okay. So that's fine. It is working for me. Sorry about that, guys. I was just a little bit confused why I wasn't hearing any in-game sound, but it seems to be good. Let me know what that is like for you guys, and I can always increase it as it's needed. So, playing path, pretty central, a little bit down south, but allow these teams to pretty much get to where they want to. Zeus going to South George, nobody going with them. We have Geek squad on the split drop around Gaka. Then the side of Genesis Dogma in Primorsk. As far as I know, it's Genesis Dogma. Apologize if it's not, but as far as I know, it is. We have EVOS going on that split drop around Ferry Pier, but Reject seems to be around that area too. Have to be careful. Redface doesn't have any kind of gun in his hand. Is hoping that he doesn't get spotted out. Switch on over to CONQUERORS. They loot up around the farm area. There's going to be this level of kind of uncertainty as Zuxi is knocked down. I think there's a little bit of action at the start of this game. Coming out between RRQ and BTR. 2 kills already for RRQ. Gallon picking up one onto one of the NASR players, as far as I know. Actually, I think it is NASR that's... Okay, so why is one of the NASR players called 963 Zuxi? That's just really confusing. Why? Either way, it's just one player left inside this swimming pool. Standing up. He has a Uzi in his hands that he's looking to use. And one thing that I've noticed and correlated is that apparently the UMP is is very strong in this latest update. So I'm going to be looking out to see what teams are maybe utilizing more of the UMP meta that seems to have been... See, as far as I know, the fire rate has been improved since the last update. I still don't think it's going to be as good as the Thompson, just because of the fact that the Thompson has 50 bullets with an extended mag. That's a beautiful nade being thrown out by Frankie of EX. Xavier pushing on in now. And we're looking to make sure that they confirm that kill onto Rio of Myths. Sending that little bit of BM across the way. Phase 1 popping up. On a side note, it did go up on towards that northwest. Hosem, one of two players left standing for Miss him and Farouk. Just inside this Pachinki terrain. Hoping not to get spotted out for the time being. Yeah, you know, like the roof is not the best place to be, obviously, because it's out in the open. Even though it's a little bit unorthodox, it's still out in the open. However, he also knows that he can't really move, because the second he moves, the footsteps are going to be heard. So if Farouk can create some kind of distraction to allow Hosem to move away, that could be quite valuable. Otherwise, the best he can hope for, in my eyes, is pick up a kill, catch one of the Xavier players out, see where it goes from there. The trigger discipline is there. He's waiting. That might have been his time to shoot. Let's see if G will be able to see Hosem in through the window. Oh, my lord, so far no good, but we move on over to Reject going up against Conqueror. Knocks all around. Lapis is looking to get revived up. Rokus, I think he's the only player that's left up around this area for his side, if I'm not mistaken. Looking to do wonders across his area. Yeah, Riza's knocked down. Reznov is confirmed, so it's Rokus and Azzy. That's the two players up for Conquer. Rokus is actually playing for Panda, the European team Panda, but I think he's just playing for Conquer as a little bit of a sub for this game because it's relatively early in European times. It's a 1v4 though for Rokus, so he's going to have to pull out all the stops. He took the smoke down there to try and curb some of Reject's vision moving up the stairs, so give him a slightly better chance of picking up a kill. He's gonna find one. Fortunately, it's only a knock. He gets knocked himself, confirmed by Divine rocking the UMP, and now it's just Azzy that's left on his own. Actually, no, Azzy is getting the revive on the Reeves in that time, so at least, you know, the sacrifice is being made of Rokus going down in the case of okay, I think there is all chat on, which is a shame. Don't know what that sound was, but either way, Reject now gonna look to finish what they started. Gotten 2 kills early on onto the Conqueror players. Reese hasn't really had much time to heal up, to be fair, as he's been the one that's having to do the weight pulling, but himself being chunked down to 20's health leaves him in a position where he's gonna get knocked and Reese is gonna get finished off, and Reject, the Japanese side, find a squad wipe for themselves early in this game. 4 kills on board. Happy days from Reject Scarlet. Man, I know it's not Reject Scarlet, it's just Reject, but I can't help saying it. Either way, Reject, like, that's what I love about how they play. They're so solidly aggressive. You can see Rocky from Victim SOVERS getting a knock onto one of the DRS players. So that fight is definitely breaking out in Yasnaya Polyana, of all places. While we see the fight, Myths and yeah, the Xavier ending out in
حتى الزمات هم
pitching.
واحد كيما معاهم هذا وقت ماشي من لاعبين معنا في
ERS now looking to continue to challenge onto side of decided victim SOVERS. Okay, now I've lost sound altogether. Yeah, okay, there's no desktop sound. That's so weird. I don't know why. There's no game sound. Look to try and fix that for the time being. There you go. AJ's finding a knock. Mafia Ninja kind of goes in on his own and pays the price of Fajar. Responds quite nicely. AJ can't do much. With Gem false knocked down. Let's see if AJ is going to be able to move. He's going to in for the push against Sachet. Let's see if he can sachet away and join up with the rest of his team. And Nate is being cooked up in the time being. Looking to try and track the footsteps. He throws that one upstairs. Unfortunately, I don't think that's going to be the case because as far as I know, AJ is downstairs. Another nade gets thrown out on the balcony but the rest of the side of victim SOVERS have joined up with him and have moved into cover to wipe out DRS in this game one of the PMWI scrims. Nice molly. Is it too little too late? Maybe not. Out inside the balcony he goes once again. Unfortunately those shots connect but only a little bit. He does suffer a bit of damage himself, and in that time the first aid hasn't been able to be pulled off, and the rest of the players of victim SOVERS come in. Job done. Phase 2 does pop up and it has shifted down on towards the southwest. EVOS REBORN are in an absolutely fantastic position on top of Everest Hillside. As far as I know, they went there early on as well. Just trying to get the audio thing sorted. I don't know why there's chat going on. It just tends to be a little bit of an in-game bug. Apparently, Spectator will look to get that sorted. Hopefully, we see Geek Squad and Zeus challenging each other as well. As Reject Scarlet just continue to look to pick off fights. They find another player as well on their journey into the stranglehold of a position. It's so good from Reject how proactive they're being. You can see that circle popping up. Divine, the Reject side, they're on 5 kills so far, rocking it through the lobby in this game one. Still have to be careful. Having a full squad up is good, but you've done what you've done, Reject, is you've got a solid base amount of points. Now you look to play a little bit more calculated, play a little bit for the position of phase 3, phase 4, because you have that foundation of points on board. Still with the full squad up, leaves it in a quite a valuable position once you don't overextend and spread too thinly across the way. Just giving some feedback to the observer here, just to make sure that everything's on board. Zeus have a really wide 1-1-1-1 split, which I'm definitely curious about if that's going to work out for them, because it's only phase 2. Because it's only phase 2, it should be okay. But the second phase 3 pops up, depending on where it goes, they should look to join up in some way, shape, or form as a full squad. Phase 3 has shown, and it is going to be a bit of a tough shift up the northeast. So that ping pong over phase 2 and phase 3 is making it a bit more challenging for these teams to deal with. Do see this side of Blacklist International looking very healthy on the hill south of shooting range. DS are coming on towards the northeast of their location, and we even have I think RRQ inside this area as well. So a little bit of traffic building up on the eastern side of the circle. Over onto the west, man, only one team is ICURD. As far as I know, ICURD are on the kind of northwestern side. Geek fam in a pretty decent spot, to be fair. But I worry that they could be allowing teams like Zeus to go too close to them. However, Zeus for their own position isn't really the best, because they're facing a lot of pressure from the likes of EVOS, the Xavier, and sorry, it's actually ICURD that's in the block compound. ICURD are in the block compound. Also, you see Kalaga on the bridge looking to try and cover on the other side. I really like that from ICURD, because what you're doing is you're getting that extra angle, and it's a sacrificial lamb situation. It's okay for him to go down. Of course, he doesn't want to without doing something before that. But when you're talking about getting information and trying to create that bubble around the rest of your team, it's really good stuff. As the Xavier Lamborghini looks to loot up, they're already on 3 kills. Abilene on the red face. Microboy goes down. Zeus now turning up the heat as they take the fight against EVOS Reborn. They join back up, and now with that 1 kill, looking to find a second. EVOS Reborn are not looking too good. 14 teams, 47 players left. Valdus has a check out through the smoke. See, now Team 13 looking to get the heal off his EVOS Reborn. The final 2 players, they go down and they are out of here. Zeus ending that one. Stopping their journeys. The next circle has popped up and it centers quite nicely around the south of shooting range hill. Hopefully the voice issue is fixed for now. If not, it'll be 100% fixed for the last game. DS missile holding on to kind of that northeastern edge of the circle. It's a position where they're outside the circle, so they could have like maybe reject wrap around them. However, in their own right, you know, Blacklist International are stopping both those teams from getting a little bit more of a controlling position. RQ now on the south side going up against BTR. Nade is being thrown out. BTR, the Indo Pride team, really holding the weight of Indonesia on their shoulders, to be fair. Well, the Xavier going up against Reject. Sorry, not the Xavier, DS, my apologies. DS Korea going up against Japan. Sporta with the UMP onto Divine, using the peek and shoot angles from Sarah. Finds one, looks for the pre-fire on the Sporta, has to try and reload, but Sporta recognizes that and goes, no, I'm gonna take you out. Beautiful by Sporta. Good attempt by Reject, but losing that player early on just made it so much more difficult to contend with. They had the disadvantage and ended up going against them. Now BTR, they're turning their attention towards ICURD because ICURD have breached their location on the hill above the road. Nades are flying. It's actually the Xavier that steals one of those kills away. So BTR will definitely be aware of that one. Never mind the fact that the shots have been flying out by RRQ. Nearby. Ryzen is knocked down. Nice play by Gallon. The Xavier not having the healthiest of time as well, because they're in the mix. 14s around the southern side of this circle, hovering between inside and outside as this phase 4 is closing in, and we're heading into phase number 5. The Xavier, he is knocked down on Lamborghini. Let's see if he can speed through and help his team quite nicely. As Laser, is it Laser or Blazer? Either way, it's a cool name. I'm gonna call him Blazer. Is on his own for Icard. His teammate is on the hill above, so you could have that sandwich effect. But with the blue zone in phase 4 moving into phase 5, that tick damage is going to be a lot more difficult to deal with. You can see he has 1 first aid, a few bandages, a couple of painkillers, but he's going to need to get that first aid off. And now, just as we hit phase number 5, that tick damage, like I said, not going to be easy to deal with. Blazer jumps in the vehicle. Maybe see if he can join up with Ali. While Ali is, of course, trying to find one of the last players of the Xavier himself, just to confirm that kill. Miss on board, dying to the play zone. Unfortunately, we have 11 teams left, 30 players alive, as indeed Blazer was taken out in the end. So it's just Ali left on his own. Ali finds Lamborghini, so that's pretty good. Genesis Dogma has a player knocked down, but you can see the players of QRTEY. Sorry, it's QWERTY. What a team name. They're in the shack just hoping for the best. Zeus are also doing something a little bit similar in the center of the circle. Wolverine, Voltrex, and Can being spotted out by Geek Fam Snipes, waiting in the wings to use that beautiful M16 snipe his opponents out of the ground. They do have to think about their own position inside the circle. They're on that western side. Voltrex having a molly close by, looks for Zol. Zol is trying to drive away. He gets out of the vehicle, but I can't imagine Zol will be able to hold out for much longer. Has he been able to survive? I think that is the case. Indeed it has. Prone down behind the tree. Well, we move on over to Victim Sovers. Still a 3-man team on board with 4 kills. Spaghetti-o. Now they have a breaching Blacklist International who are already inside the circle. So it's less of a breach and more of a edge of circle camp. It's going to be a confirmation nearly coming through as, oh my lord, can Foss stay prone down in time? He has to try and get a heal off. He's been able to pull off a first aid. I don't know if it's worth going for the revive. Smoke's being thrown out to try and cover the angles. Of course, that's still going to alert the attention of Blacklist International as they continue to ramp up the pressure. Although, are they forgetting about it a little bit too quickly? Are they not realizing that they do have to get rid of the team that's in front of them before the next circle pops up? Seems like they do have their fingers on the pulse. Still only 1 kill. The next circle does shift towards Geek Fam, who are now going to be able to hold BTR back quite nicely. Foz is knocked down off the back of a fantastic nade being pulled out by the side of Blacklist International. I do think, though, that they are taking way too long to execute this fight. 20 seconds until the blue zone starts closing in phase 5. Sorry, 6 should I say. Do you think that's going to be easy to deal with? No. Plus you're giving away any kind of control inside the next circle by taking so long to engage. I know there's a lot of smokes down, but you have the teamwork all the while the pickoff begins. And yes, they're trading, but time is ticking down. Sachet Fajar going into the blue, a little bit tricky, but I like it because you don't expect a player to be there. But on the side of the tree, Fajar has not been able to spot out Lapas. And in the end, is it Lapas or Alas? Either way, they've been able to, for the most part, get the better of that team. And man, this is absolutely crazy. RQ trying to survive by the skin of their teeth. Another player knocked down, puts him down to 2. Geek Fam controlling this circle. They got rid of BTR. We are left with 16s and boom goes the dynamite. Mortal is not so immortal, I'll tell you that much, because he has been taken out. DS being somewhat quiet. They had that squad wipe against Reject, but outside of that, they just had a relatively easy game in terms of controlling, sweeping rotations into these circles. I saw them pull that off in yesterday's Miramar game. I was impressed with it. Now we're seeing it here in ERANGEL. But can they bring it all together to close it out? It's going to be hard because when you look on the kill feed, when you're looking at control, Geek Fam are in firm control. 4 teams left, 10 players up. Snipes low down on health, only has 3 bandages to his name, but at the end of the day, once he's still breathing, he's a pair of eyes for his team. He is able to do some work as Satan is knocked down. And it is going to be, unfortunately, GENISIS. Sorry, Victim Sovers, my apologies, having one of their players knocked down, putting even more pressure on their end result. Still top 4 is nothing to be sniffed at. Sporta inside the circle with the rest of his DS team. That rotation down to the south. East worked out, but he's being spotted out by Annie's and confirmed ZZP is down. And that is going to be the end of DS. And with the circle shifting towards Geek Fam, there was only that one team they had to deal with. And now look at that. Sachet with 5 kills. He's doing a wonderful job for his Victim Sovers team. Being able to survive by the skin of his teeth. At the end of the day, though, they're going to hit the end of the line. The end of the production line, because Geek Fam are going to box it up. They're going to package it and send Victim Sovers right back into the lobby and claim this game 1. It's downhill. Sachet has to try and find a bit of a miracle pickoff, but I just can't see it working out because of the fact that it's 4v2. Maybe sweeping onto one side, it could work out, but you can see all of the angles that are on board. It is a trade. Let's be fair. Sachet does a wonderful job. Finds one. He finds a second. Prone down. Sachet still has something to do. Is this going to be the savior? Is this going to be the 1v3? He finds a second. It's 1-on-1. Down on the low ground. This is crazy. Can Baby keep it all going? Or will Sachet clutch it up? Will he get the winning blow? Will he get the winning blow? No, he does not. Geek Fam, get the chicken dinner. It was close. It was 4v2. And credit to Sachet for Victim Sovers. But my God, that was close. It shouldn't have been so close. Let's be perfectly honest, folks. Geek Fam should have had that in the bag. They allowed Sachet to pick them off one by one. I love the angles that Geek Fam had. Let's be fair. I did like the angles. But, dude, whoo, that was close. Still, chicken dinner will be there in the end for Geek Fam. Man. Okay. Geek Fam with the chicken dinner. They also got themselves 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 kills with that chicken dinner result. Victim Sovers coming up absolutely beautifully clutch. Sachet is I tip my hat to you, my good sir. Incredible game from him. Easily, in my eyes, the MVP of that one. Easily the MVP of that one. It was absolute stonks. Absolute stonks. Blacklist International coming up 3rd. Well, watch out for this team. I'm seriously excited about Blacklist International and what we might see from them in the future. Because it's actually Alas. It's Alas. That's the name of the Blacklist player. I don't know why I was calling him Lapas. I'm an idiot. It's Alas. But Alas, they got 2 kills in that 3rd place. He had DS picking up 4th with 5 kills. So DS's result once again. DS, we know them from back in the day, back in the PMWL when they were SKT T1. Now they're under DS, and man, cannot argue with how well they're playing in these scrims. RRQ in 5th with 7 kills. Yeah, I think it's QWERTY in 6th with 1 kill. BTR in 7th with 1 kill. 8th it was GENISIS DOGMA with 2 kills. 9th was Zeus with 3 kills. ICURD in 10th with 4 kills. You had the Xavier in 11th with 5-7 kills. Myth in 12th with 1 kill. Reject in 13th with 5-6 kills. EVOS REBORN in 14th with 0 kills. DRS in 15th with 1 kill. You had Conquer EU in 16th with 0 kills. And you had NASR in 17th with 0 kills. So yeah, absolutely stonking, to be fair. Could not argue with it. And without a further ado, let's go on a little bit of a beautiful break for you folks. But we'll be back on your screens in roughly about 5 to 6 minutes for game 2 out of 4 in these PMWI scrims. And I'm back. Welcome, folks. We're going to be getting into game number 2 out of 4 very soon here in these PMWI scrims. Game 1 was won by Geek Fam. There you go. I actually can remember that. Deadly. Cool. I can remember this stuff. It's a miracle. We're going to be getting into it very soon. I know that there's been a delay. My apologies. Nothing we can really do about it. I know some of the players and the teams are dealing with high ping. The organizers are doing everything they can to try and fix that, trying different servers to see what is kind of the best middle ground. At the end of the day, look, these are community organized scrims, and we're lucky to have some form of an observer, so to speak. And a couple of teams are missing, which is a little bit of a shame, to be perfectly honest. And I wish that wouldn't happen. I wish people would say that they're going to play when they're going to play, if that was the intention. But yeah, either way, let's get into this game 2. We are going to be starting in the next minute or so. The players are in the lobby and we're heading over to the wonderful world of Miramar. Of course, teams have to look out for BTR. But I'm also hoping that Zeus can have a bit of a better kind of late game compared to what they had in ERANGEL. Their late game in ERANGEL was just unfortunately a little bit overpowered by a few of the other teams down on the south and the western side. So I'm hoping that they'll have a little bit of a better late game in this one. Once again, Conqueror EU are going to be in the lobby. Rokus is playing with them, which I find interesting considering, you know, the history he has with Rees. However, good players are good players. Maybe, you know, they've settled their, you know, they settle things and they're here to just play some scrims together and get some experience. At the end of the day, this is a bit of a uniquer opportunity to play against some of the best teams around the world, right? So why not grab it when you can, whoever you are. You know, at the end of the day, DS Gaming had a very good game in the last game, game number 1. Really love how this team plays. They're quite intelligent with their rotations as well, and I think that really does pay off for them. Late game maybe missing something, but in terms of the way it works out for them in the early to mid parts, it's so valuable, so valuable. We should be getting into this one fairly soon. Yep, we're getting into it right now. So the plane path is going to be going in again. Let me know if that in-game sound is I think it's a little bit too loud. I think it's a little bit too loud. That plane path is on the north. It's definitely trickier for the teams to get to. At least down south. But the fact that it is diagonally, it's kind of sweeping a little bit more down to the south as you get on the eastern edge of the plane path will hopefully make it a bit better. Already we do have a team dropping BLACKLIST International dropping down in towards the very northwestern side of the map. We're gonna have DRS going to the Cabri area, Geek Fam and the Xavier both going to El Pozo, or will one of them shift a little bit more south towards Monte Nuevo? It's going to be interesting to see. GENISIS, DOGMA dropping relatively early. Conqueror normally go to Picado. So will they go here this time? Had they in any way checked out the scrims yesterday? Interesting to see. RQ split dropping between water treatment and Hacienda / north of Hacienda? That's a bit weird. Actually, no. It's not too weird. It's not too weird. DS though, grabbing a vehicle early on, gonna be making our way down, I think, into Hacienda eventually. Unicorns Love, sorry, not Unicorns Love, sorry, Conqueror RD going to Picado. They're gonna drop there with, I believe, some of the iCard players, but as far as I know, Conqueror have gotten there first, or at least Reese, to say at least. He's gone into the building downstairs. Blazer going in with his sweet corn play is going to get knocked out. Reznov with the DBS making that one count, and the rest of iCard sweeping down with Caliga going on the Picado Hills. That's very disconnected dropping from iCard. Sorry, but that's just poor, to be honest. You either commit to a city like Picado or you don't go there at all. You don't half-arse that. That's feels bad, man. They'll be lucky to get away with just one player going down in this kind of situation, especially against a team like Conqueror. Also looking at this phase 1 circle. It is on towards that kind of south western side of the map, but nothing too tricky for the time being. He's pushing in. Rokas along with him, going for that frontline push as he a little bit closely behind, and Reznov being a support player in this kind of situation. Nice movement from Conqueror, to be fair, as a trio. They are feeling confident in this kind of situation. Doesn't matter what goes down. Azzy with the shotgun onto Laser. Rod is going to get eliminated as well, and Caliga can do absolutely nothing. Azali is there around the corner. Could find Reznov, but Reznov is just too good for him in this situation. The 1v1 works out in Reznov's favor. The Thompson being the kings of that one. Genesis Dogma indeed rotating down to Chumasera, which is a great place to go, because not only is a outside, very heavily outside of kind of the pathline area, is also that kind of thing where yeah, they're taking a bit longer to loot, but they're already positioned quite nicely inside the circle, so they don't really need to worry about moving too far once they are done looting up. See Caliga continuing to try to be a bit of a nuisance, as Reese from Conqueror is going to send himself up with to try and get closer to the last iCar player, hunting his victim, the Irish god, smelling fear in the eyes of the beholder in front of him. Have to see how that one goes. BTR or just above Porter Priest. So whoa, what the hell? Okay, GG, well played. Okay, GG, well played. Yep. Okay, cool. There you go. Sorry about that. I think I accidentally pressed a key to just start the stream from the start. My apologies. Because this is a clean feed that I'm going off. Zeus in El Azahar is really good. There's a bit of traffic in front of him for the time being, but as the blue zone, of course, goes through around the halfway point, we should have a good few of these teams kind of occupied between the north and southern side of this phase 1. Ledrillera Hills is a great place to put yourself in, because you're going to get a lot of sweeping information. Plus Geek Fam on the hill just down south of Power Grid is also really valuable. The reason why is because they know that there's a much higher chance that teams are going to be formating, not necessarily around that area, but rotating roughly around that area, so they can get a decent bit of early information, possibly even a bit of a surprise kill depending on who goes there. Right now DS are on Picado Hill. They could get the they could look to take down the last player of iCard. Reject Scarlet hanging around this area. RQ coming in from where they originally did split drop to go through San Martin. Time's ticking down. Still above a passive Miramar game to be expected. We have 15 teams, 56 players in this game too for the time being. Started, I believe, with 60 or yeah, I think 60. DS really looking to set themselves up on top of the Picado Hills. Caliga will be aware of that, and he now knows that he's royally screwed. He has no helmet, no vest, he has nothing to play with. I'd imagine that his ammo is extremely limited as well, and the only thing that he can in any way shape hope for is that Conqueror get distracted by DS, or Reject get distracted by DS. EVOS Reborn getting a kill onto one of the victim SOVERS players. Two Indonesian teams clashing up against each other. We do have a total of 5 Indonesian teams, to be fair. BIGETRON, EVOS Reborn, RRQ, Victim SOVERS, and GENISIS DOGMA. Oh my god. Okay, GG, well played. I thought I was actually on the game, but I wasn't. So I just missed the first 8 minutes, or you did, and you saw my stupid looking face. Apologies about that. RIP. Wait, what was the game showing? And maybe I changed the scene by mistake? I don't know, either way. Welcome to, being stupid Imperium. Good job. Good job. Thank you very much. I'm sure I got a few notifications about that as well. But either way, yeah, you didn't miss much, guys. You didn't miss much, just a couple of kills. But now you can have a bit of an idea of how this game is panning out. Apologies again. It was definitely unprofessional of me, and I'll definitely try not to let that slip up happen again. DS, like I said, really on top of the Picado Hill. It's a risky position because as much as it provides a lot of elevation, it is still somewhat out in the open. Missile taking a couple of shots as he spotted out Sarah of Reject inside the McLaren. Now driving away. Reject gonna be aware of that one. Phase 2 popped up and then continued to shift a little bit down south, but it's centralized quite nicely, at least away from the northwest. So we have a beautiful split north and south, to be fair, with that road in the middle. I love I think it's GENISIS DOGMA's position. They rotated away from Tumasero off the back of their looting phase, and they have Church Compound as their own. Geek fam reacting really quickly to that circle shift. Zeus rotated quite deep, and now they're finding shots onto a team down below. In this case, it is Conqueror. Few shots in return will send Zeus packing a little bit. On the hill to the eastern side of the circle, BTR still taking their time to rotate into this phase 2, as well as I think Ramsey of Myth, I think, had a bit of a connection issue, unfortunately. Oh yeah. Okay. Cool. I'm still curious how long that. See, I really thought I changed scene. Maybe. Either way, I just need to get on with this game. Blacklist International being very cautious on their rotation, right? Because that southwestern side would in no way, shape, or form be home to anybody at this stage of the game because of how the playing path came about. The Xavier looking quite good on that western side outside of Monte Nuevo. And DRS, the Nepal Giants, now coming quite nicely into the circle, just a little bit down south of Power Good, where Geek Fam were located, I might add. And Geek Fam opted to go for a little bit more of a, you know, centralized position now. Jar does connect onto Reznov. Bit of a return as Rokas not only grabs the final blow onto the last player, victim SOVERS, but is able to get the revive onto his knocked teammate. Good play by Conqueror. 6 kills so far in this game for the European side. Scraped by in third, and some might say they underperformed in the MEA championship, but hopefully a little bit of an evolution in their fortunes and time will allow them to just mature as a team as a whole and find their feet coming into the full split. Trying to deal with a bit of pressure as he gets to revive on Rokas. Reznov was unfortunately confirmed up, so nothing they can do about it. But no time to waste as Reese is going to go in on the front line. EVOS Reborn knocks down Azzy. Reese is going to be the second victim, and Rokas, the last player up, looking to cook up an aid. We'll find that one, but nope, not going to be the case. Rokas actually ended up nading himself, and that's Conqueror. They may have taken down one Indonesian team, but another one comes in to say that there's only so much Indonesia you can handle, and they haven't been able to get the better of us. Great aggression by EVOS Reborn, right? They knew they'd gotten a kill onto Reznov. They automatically knew they had the body advantage. If they had have allowed anything more to happen, some kind of reset for Conqueror, that could have gone against them. But what did they do? They took what they had and they turned it into a much bigger opportunity by being aggressive across the board. Really good stuff from them. DS continuing to play on that Picado hill and try and plant the Korean flag on top of the mountain of Miramar. My lord. Still Callagher, the last player of iCard, just being one with the rock like a scarecrow in a field, hoping the crows fly away from the nest of the mountain that Callagher holds on to. 46 players, 13 teams left. DS have absolutely no idea, and I mean absolutely no idea he's here. We should have Geek Family EVOS Reborn start to tick at each other a little bit more coming into this next phase, because the blue zone is at least starting to close in of the third zone of this game. RQ as well on the northern side of the circle, feeling pretty good about their position, knowing that they don't really have to worry too much about what's going on like 90 degrees behind them, maybe 180 degrees behind them, but as they thread themselves up the mountain, there is a certain level of kind of uncertainty in terms of information, or therefore lack of information, that they have. Reject, I would argue, are too heavily split at this stage of the game. It feels like, to me, they should be covering a smaller area but in a stronger way, whereas the too thinly spread will allow that veil to be pulled off and they could get picked off one by one, while DRS rotating around on the western side, or at least Blacklist International rotating on the western side, not spotting out DRS. Mafia Ninja finds that one. Okay, Tyra onto Mr. Boro will at least respond, but at the end of the day, AJ is there to find the last. Mafia Ninja onto KO's, and now it is just Keller that is left up with his teammate to try and hold on to this game. This split from DRS is tricky for them to really join up as a full squad, but they do have either side of this fight, so they are somewhat covering each other's back. Mafia Ninja might have to take a bit of a risk, but I wouldn't recommend he does it without knowing that his team has his cover in some way, shape, or form. He needs to bait that Blacklist player away from the side of the mountain in some way, shape, or form. The next phase popped up and it went over to the west. That's not good for DRS, right? Because the western side of the circle becomes more habitable. It becomes a bit more of a tipping point for teams to move to and position themselves again because of that playing path. The playing path, you got to understand, has so much more of an impact on teams' late game positions than you might think. Because as much as they have their drop spots, they're not limited to rotating just through from their drop spots. They can easily shift and rotate and value themselves in across this area. But Blacklist International, Tyra can't do anything really to help his teammate. The blue zone is going to be the death of him, knocked down at the hands, and DRS through the smokes, not taking too much of a risk, but they will at least confirm that kill. BTR, weirdish rotation through kind of the Picado hillside. Luxie's knocked down, Liquid Rising and Zuxi still up though. Myths also a bit of a weirder one themselves. They're down to just that one player. Icurd, is Icurd still alive? No, I think Icurd got spotted and taken out. Either way, last player, Blacklist, as far as I know, has been taken out. 11 teams left, 37 players reject. Remember what I talked about them being a little bit too heavily separated? Well, they did go for a rotation to that bit more of a northwestern edge of the circle. One of their players has been knocked down, Divine. Did he nade himself? Did he molly himself? I don't think so. I think it was just all another team that put a bit too much pressure on them. Nima, on the other hand, is not looking too good as the Xavier Rabas finds that one down on that western side, and another knockdown is played through. Reject will be aware of that, and the guinea pigs, the DRS are in this western edge of the circle, has allowed Reject to maybe shift a little bit more up north. But guess what? The Xavier are going to be looking for that one, plus RRQ on the Reject Scarlet. Boom, job done. What the hell is going on? It's all blown up on that western side. It seems think they're all going for the same big brain play, but when everybody is there, the fights start to commence. Reject still up as a two-man team, but RQ do have that body advantage. Leave it to Duello on his own in a 1v4. Lots of nades being pre-thrown across the board. The Xavier comes in on a third party. A double knock leaves Duello on his own. But you're taking your overs, Duello. Stay inside the smoke. Stay inside the smoke. Go for the revive onto your teammate. That's exactly what he's doing. But the Xavier, they're looking at this going, we don't care who it is. We don't care what team the body belongs to. We're looking for bodies. We're looking for kills. The circle on that last phase did shift up north, and DRS, I thought they were out of it. I thought they were out of it. In through the ashes, they rise above, and Mr. Burrow comes in to finish the job, finds one knock, but RQ get the revives up, in through the smoke. The M249 squad wiper finishes off DRS. So out of the 4 teams that were on the west, we're down to just 2. The Xavier and RRQ. Absolutely crazy, lovely return shots from Valdemort. Get a knockdown onto the Xavier. He is at least holding on to a little bit of an anchor point inside this phase 5. Lamborghini is on the outside of the circle. He has to move his way in, but still, even though it is kind of phase 5, having someone on the outside of the circle can be kind of quite valuable to catch people out. The split from the Xavier is going to be a little bit tricky to deal with. EVOS Reborn going up against Geek fam. This was, I think, 2 or 3 circles ago that I said that these are going to clash. Snipes was already low in health. Well, he's being knocked down like a feather onto the ground and blown away by EVOS Reborn in the southern side of this phase number 5. Miracle is the only one that's left standing for the Indonesian team, and he's outside the circle, so either way, shape or form, he's gonna have to try and move and find his way in. We still have the battle down on the east, the mountains of Picado in play as DS. They've been here since pretty much phase 1. BTR moved in somewhat late. I questioned BTR's rotation, to be fair, and they've hit a bit of a brick wall. Luxie knocked down, but they still have that full squad up, let's be fair. But they're wasting a lot of utility, wasting quite a few smokes without any real reward, right? Yeah, they can still do something against Geek fam. They're covered from DS for the time being. Seeing the smokes, watching the warehouse in their favor, even a little bit of a sniper shot being fired through from BTR to try and push and hold back the members of EVO. Oh man, Microboy, he should be very well aware of how BTR play this game, I'll tell you that much. ZZP is going to be turned upon by liquid of BTR, flows his way into that knock with those shots being fired off. BTR now taking 2 fights at once, but here's the thing. Have they allowed EVOS to get ahead of them and closer to the edge of the circle? That could spell trouble for them. I love the fact that DS opted to kind of pretty much forget about that fight, because BTR outside of keeping missile there and play for the next phase for a bit of a position and play as RRQ. Still going up against the Xavier, but they do have the better of them for the time being. Lamborghini. Looking, being aware. M249 with that 4X. Woohoo! Spicy meatball flavors. BTR and DS missile is knocked down. Zuxi is going to take that kill away, but EVOs are pushed on to that fight to BTR, I think, by the Xavier a little bit, as Ryzen is knocked down. Tried to chuck up either a smoke or a nade, and in the end he got taken out in that time, as Ryzen is trying to get revived up before the blue zone engulfs some EVOs. Yeah, let's be fair, they're getting the better of this fight quite nicely. Okay, the one player from their team that's inside the circle is knocked down, but it is still something. He's yet to be confirmed up across this area. Still 5 teams, still 14 players. 23 minutes into the game. Slow it down a little bit, as all of these teams have somebody in the circle. Four teams left. BTR take it out. They can't and couldn't deal with all the pressure around them, and it was either EVOS or DS that got the better of them. RQ to Xavier, EVOS Reborn, and DS. Valdemort is going to kick things off, getting a nice sweet knock for his side. Would he be able to turn that into, obviously, kills and map control as the circle shifts down to southeast? Valdemort will indeed finish sport off, leaving Satan on his own. Satan, let's see if he can be the devilish Satan and poke the horns into the teams around him. Survival mode is on for the last player of DS, though, let's be fair. Hoping that the rest of the teams around them can distract each other. Lamborghini, you can see EVOS Reborn gonna punish them around this area on the southern edge of the circle. EVOS feeling very healthy as two of the EVOS players push up towards the edge of the reach side. Oh no, a little bit of a buffer in play. Hopefully that'll be able to be done. Bingo bango. Nice side angle being played out. Little bit of damage here, a little bit of damage there. Bish bash posh. Kill played through. DS are out of the game, and we are left with our final two teams. The Xavier unfortunately crumbled in the end. Bit off more than they could chew. And RRQ and EVOS Reborn, two Indonesian teams in the final two of Miramar. Microboy looting up, looking for a bit of extra utility here. Couple of grenades there. I think EVOS are going to end up being choked out by the... Actually, no, not by the body advantage. It's a clean 4v4. In terms of position, both teams hold on to kind of the northern edge of the circle, northeast and northwest respectively. But Redface on the Valdemort hopefully will allow EVOS to sweep on through and maybe be the aggressive that they need to be, but not before, unfortunately, Lyzerg is going to get knocked down in his own right and confirmed up by one of the RRQ players. So It is now 3v3. The kills are being traded. This is such a great finish to the game. Micro Boy looks to make sure that his health is ticking on up as he tries to find the angles to give that little bit of a juicy advantage. The opening for EVOS to claim this chicken dinner in the second game of the day. Micro Boy finds Voldemort, but Mortal picks off Redface. It's once again a trade on it. On halfway down on health, the M249 finishes the job, and RRQ claim the chicken dinner in Miramar. RRQ. Healthy stuff indeed on Miramar. I said they might have the better of it. EVOS did play quite nicely, but there was no real double trouble strength compared to RRQ, right? It felt like they were trying to be a little bit too clever at the end to find that knock. And as much as that's not a bad thing, sometimes you have to make the call of, hey, I'm gonna go in on a push as a duo, right? We're not gonna allow the opening to come to us. We're gonna create that opening. If you think about it, RRQ literally created that opening in the end. One of their players got knocked, but then they instantly traded and the duo pushed in. Micro Boy was doing a really good job, but because he was on his own, it's very rare in that moment that you're going to get the two-piece. Even if you get one knock, it's going to be instantly traded. And then in the end, they got the chicken dinner. Damn, what a good finish to that game. Such a good game. I really enjoyed it. The first 7 to 10 minutes was passive to be somewhat expected for a Miramar game. But that's the thing, it just led up to what was a very explosive mid to late stages of the game. And, you know, remember what I said about kind of the playing path having a pretty big effect on how teams will look to, how a few of the teams at least will look to kind of play the path lines into these circles, no matter how they go. And we did see that on that west and southwest. The Xavier doing a wonderful job. They deserve a lot of credit, but maybe they didn't focus enough on taking down RRQ. Remember, there was one point in that game where RRQ had 2 players knocked down to the hands of the Xavier. Yes, okay, there's 4 teams around that area, and it's very hard when you're in game and you know, you got a lot going on around you that it's hard to pinpoint exactly, but that's where keeping an eye on the kill feed can become a little bit more valuable, right? Because I really believe that if you're paying attention to the kill feed, you're able to correlate and connect the dots of the knocks being confirmed in the kills and those kills being confirmed in the squad wipes. And I do think the Xavier could have pushed that area and have taken out RRQ, but in the end they didn't push it, and it ended up going against them later on. RRQ got their full squad back up and they picked off the Xavier when they had the opening to spread themselves out. At that point, it was too little too late for the Xavier. Again, good game from the Xavier, and they deserve a lot of credit for what they did and just how they were playing around in the early parts of the game. Just, you know, they thought they had things okay in that regard. Man, such a good Miramar game. Like, I seriously loved it. Oh man, awesome. I'm smiling I'm genuinely smiling at how good this game was. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. EVOS getting second place. They took down Geek Fam. They took down BTR. Like, you know, they couldn't do much more outside of, unfortunately, that very last moment of the game. They got 6, 5, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 kills for themselves. DS in third with 1 kill. Considering how long in that game DS were on Picado Hill, I really feel like they should have got more kills. Now, were there a lot of teams around at Picado Hill? No, not particularly, but were they maybe focusing too much at times on just being in the circle. Yeah, to be fair, like, you know, there's a few moments where they were just on the buggy, and it's like, I don't know. I think they could have maybe have looked for a couple more kills, right? Yeah, it's still good for that third place, to be fair. The Xavier fourth place, already talked about them, 1 kill. BTR in fifth with 5 kills. Still question kind of BTR's rotation through that Picado Hill area, but again, look, these are scrims, right? So it's a time to try those maybe unorthodox rotations. It's a time to test different positions and see how it works out for you. It might not be fully replicated in a competitive setting, but is still good kind of testing things that you can do. Geek Fam coming in 6th place with 3 kills. You had Blacklist International with 2 kills. You had Genesis Dogma in 8th with 0 kills. DRS in 9th with 5 kills. Reject in 10th with 1 kill. You had Myth in 11th with 0 kills. Zeus in 12th with 0 kills. iCurd in 13th with 0 kills. Conqueror in 14th with 6 kills. And you had the side of Victim SOVERS in 15th with 0 kills. Damn, son. Damn, son. Damn, son. Well, you know what? I'm going to go for another break. But we will be back in roughly 7 minutes or so, I'd say. I'll put timer up. You'll get an idea. But game 3 is coming up. We're going back on over to ERANGEL. And I'm back. Woo! I will try not to make the mistake of not putting it on the in-game screen for this one, even from the start. But I like to think, not that it was worth it in the last game, but it was worth it. Because that last game in Miramar was absolutely fantastic. I loved it. One of the most entertaining games, to be fair, and I thought it was really close on some of the teams' positioning and the way they were navigating through the circles. I really loved it. We are loaded into game number 3, so we should be getting the show on the road in the next 2 minutes or so, give or take. So sorry for the bit of a delay across the way. Few teams are starting as a trio instead of a squad, which is a bit of a feels bad, man. And also we don't have 1 or 2 teams that we were meant to, which is also a bit of a feels bad, man. But we make do with what we can. 55 players have joined the room. Hopefully it'll still be pretty action-packed. The fact that, again, we're having 2 Wrangles, 1 Miramar, fortunately 1 Sunhawk, is good because it's 2 Wrangles. And then Miramar is just always a pleasure to watch. It's just Sandhawk. Sandhawk. Nobody likes Sandhawk. If you like Sandhawk, then you have a small PP. It's true. It's true. But if you don't like Sandhawk, then you're just OP. I don't make the rules. I just abide by them. They're official rules. We're gonna be starting in the next minute anyway, boys and girls. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in so far. If you want to, you can follow myself on Instagram. It's EVT_Imperium. If you're not following me already, honestly, you're missing out on some terrible content. No, I do my best to post stories, to talk to people, and look, always feel free to reach out, especially if you have any feedback on my casting, and if you have any feedback if I'm making a mistake on saying some of the players' names or some of the team names. If there's anything you'd like me to do better in terms of my casting, please feel free to hit me up and send me a message on Instagram, EVT_Imperium. I'm also on Twitter, but I'm aware that generally Twitter isn't that popular. Either way, we are getting into this game, so I switched transition. Okay, I am in game. It's a miracle. Woo! I'm a streamer, guys. I'm a streamer. Yeah. I should blame the vaccine that I got yesterday for the mistake. My left arm was actually sore still, but apparently that's pretty normal. It feels like somebody's like punched me in the same spot on my arm like 6 times. It's not bruised or anything like that, but you know, it kind of feels like that. Anyway, playing path very central from the east to the west, so it will allow the teams to get to pretty much where they want to / need to go. Yes, going for an early drop around the kind of Miltet region. Again, I'm curious to know if where Conqueror will go compared to BTR. They know BTR like to go to farm, and I think that's why Conqueror opting for that more kind of western side of that farm region, just to kind of avoid any real action. And I like the fact that Conqueror kind of dropping 2-1-1. I prefer maybe a 2-2, but I do like it. We still have Xavier dropping in Pachinki along with oh, actually Zeus this time. Okay, so it's Zeus this time that's dropping in with Xavier and Pachinki. I know Zeus only starting as a trio for this one, so maybe they're just looking to challenge themselves as a 3-man team, dropping in Pachinki for the time being. Honestly, I've no doubt that the Xavier can hold their own in this Pachinki region. Phase 1 popped up, and it is quite heavily up north with about 30% water or so. Maybe 35%. Already a run over happening between DRS and the side of victim SOVERS. Which is fair enough. DRS kind of dropping on the eastern side / outside of Yasnaya. Sachet was put down to low health, but in the end, nothing really to speak about. Between those two teams, it seems to be more... Oh! Okay, what happened there? The fact that the vehicle blew up? Or what? That's interesting. Don't know what's happened there, but... You can see that the Xavier and Zeus already kicking things off in their fight in Pochinki. And then EVOS Reborn, the second place team from the last game, gonna have Reject rocking close to them. Nade being pre-cooked by Redface behind a tree. Duello does find End Camu. Nade doesn't really connect. Redface is forced to step back. Lapis finds it. And now it's just EVOS left with 2 players, Microboy and Lizurg. Not really the best start for the Microboy. Oh no. He's able to at least survive for the time being. Interesting he's playing on this position. I don't agree with it. Is he going to go for the revive? Could work out. The fact that one of the reject players is knocked down has given a little bit of space. Microboy pushes over and he gets knocked down. The hands of Sarah. Now it's just one more victim in play for Reject to get the better of EVOS Reborn at the very start of this game number 3 of the day. Lizurg gonna have the full Japanese spotlight hanging on his shoulders. DBS to try and confirm a kill. Nope. A knock, yes, but no confirmed kill. And that's gonna be a full squad surviving and a full squad being wiped out. Down to 13 teams already. Whoo, baby. And now we have BTR going up against Conqueror. Nice nade being fired out. Reznov onto Luxie. In the back line, Liquid trying to get a couple of pre-fired shots as he goes forward. It's a bit of a risk, but he should be covered. Out in the open he goes, using the wall to his protection. But he has to be aware of it. A lovely nade being fired out. Now he goes in as he's on a sliver of health. But Rokas with the UMP will come through on that one. And Ryzen is the last hope for BTR in this game, as Conqueror might look to finish off the Indonesian Giants. It's gonna be 2 Indonesian teams being wiped out early on in this game 3. Feels bad, man, but it is what it is. The Western European side getting off to a good start, and I think that's kind of part of the fact that they dropped 2-1-1 and they were able to kind of loot up early and stay together early, and that's always going to be valuable. Did they lose Reese, or is Reese still going? Because that's something I didn't notice. Actually, I should have noticed it, but yeah, Reese is still going, so I still think it's a full squad. Window being smashed. Nade being pre-fired in through the window. It's going to be the jump. Rising gets a knockdown, but in the end, his own nade essentially takes him out. Actually, no, it's Azzy's nade that takes him out. Still think it was a bit weird that Reese pushed in on his own like that and towards that side building. Maybe he heard the nade being cooked and felt like it was a perfect opportunity. I get that. Either way, they ended up coming out on top and a much better start to this game for Conqueror. Already down to 46 players, 12 teams. Hotbed of action. We're going to have another one being fired up, to be fair, between Zeus and the Xavier. There was knocks being traded either side a minute or so ago, just before we moved on over to the fight of Conquerors and BTR. But it seems like, at least for Zeus, they've been able to execute those revives. I think Xavier are still up. The Xavier are still up as full squad. Yes, they are. So revives being pulled off on both sides. Time is ticking down. Honestly, here's the thing. Both these teams can stay in Pachinki up until phase 2. Because they're on the southern edge of the circle, no team's really going to be like near them. Even as they disengage up north, teams are going to prioritize like Rozhok Hill and the northern side of the river, maybe even around the kind of tip of Yasnaya, rather than anywhere near Pachinki. So there's no rush for any of these teams to move out. If it was the center of the circle, if Pachinki was in the center of the circle, I would, you know, argue that both these teams are taking a massive risk still fighting at this stage of the game. But to me, I see no real problem as phase 1 is closing in. Geek fam rotating past Everest on the western side of the map, coming in through the George Paul Bridge. We do have, to be fair, a Genesis Dogma getting, I wouldn't say close to Pachinki. Well, yeah, close enough. It's a Pachinki hill on the eastern side. But unless actual shots are being fired, I can't I can't see them actively looking for a fight in Pachinki. Only if they feel like it's worth the opportunity and they correlate the shots with a knock and the kill feed. That's my kind of point with them. Otherwise, they're slowing it down. RQ, the winners of the last game in Miramar, in one of these kind of priority compounds. It's great because it's not quite the northern tip of Rozhok, which, you know, I think is a bit more of a commitment. But it's still closer to the river where you're getting that information. Phase 2 pops up, and that is a massive yeet of a circle shift up on the northeast. That is oof. Stalbar is going to be the focus, and the Stalbar hills for a lot of these teams. DRS, Reject, connecting with each other. Mafia Ninja does get a knock. Just one kill being played out, so Reject will be able to, well, for the time being, move away from DRS, only suffering one casualty, which, all things considered, with how the Circle 2 shifted and how likely we are going to see teams clashing on these kind of rotations, I don't think it's bad that they only lost one player, to be perfectly honest. Oh, actually, well, okay. I spoke too soon because they're clapping back quite nicely, getting 2 kills? Getting 3 kills, my apologies, and AJ is going to be the last player alive for DRS. Wow, Reject. I thought you were just going to avoid that and go up the kind of Stalbar hill above Yasnaya, but wow. Talk about feeling confident. Now the Xavier already lost one against Zeus, another is knocked. I don't get why Rabbiz is so far away from the rest of his team, knowing that there is another team around him. Maybe he was massively underlooted, needed to take that risk for the potential reward of having better loot coming into the next couple of phases. But I would argue, well, why do that when you can just look for an engagement and then loot your opponents, right? That kind of thing. So that kind of shows a little bit of a lack of confidence from the Xavier in this situation. Either that or just, unfortunately, the wrong decision making at the right time. I tried to correlate decisions to confidence and the mindset of a player and the mindset of a team, because I think that's a big part of it. But sometimes it can be one of those things where you just stick to that conviction of a decision and it doesn't work out for you. In this case, I don't think it has. Victim Sovers looking to victimize iCard as one of the players send themselves into the side of this compound. Sachet, these connects onto one, utilizing the high ground. It's returned quite nicely. Stall bar heals. I did say that was going to be an important part of this phase 2, and I don't get why iCard are kind of committing to this position with either one information or two without sending the majority of their squad into that one area. Feels like that spread is a bit too essentially risky, but they're making it work. Credit where it's due. Caliga does flank around and gets a second knock in their favor on the hillside. So I may have been critical of it, but at the end of the day, credit is due in that moment, and they grab a double knock onto the players of Victim Sovers, and now that allows Blazer to laser shots onto one of the two remaining Victim Sovers and victimize them in the early parts of this game number 3 of the day. Phase number 3 has popped up, and poop me ciders and call me Jimmy. What a painful circle shift, still with now what feels like 40% of the water in circle. Caliga and 2 of his iCard teammates get another knock and a kill onto Victim Sovers. It's just Rocky left in his own. Let's see if it can one punch his way in and pull off something massive. Unfortunately, Blazer nades himself. I don't know what happened there, but can I have an F in the chat for Blazers? iCard, the rest of the team turned their attentions on towards DS, who are climbing their way up the Stallbar Mountains to enter into the circle, and they catch out Ali from behind. It's going to be a kill for DS. He chucks a nade. His teammate providing cover fire. Real good teamwork between Missile and I believe that was Satan, if I'm not mistaken. Geek fam are in the perfect compound of this circle, but can they hold on to right? It may be the perfect compound, but it's a risky compound as a push comes in from the side of RRQ, and they play on the side of Blacklist International. Just Tyre left on his own, covered against the wall, and it's Geek fam from behind that gets the better of him. Great play by RRQ. Unfortunately missed the entry point of that fight, but it was clear that RRQ knew exactly what they wanted to do, and that's how you breach a compound, right? It's a tricky compound to breach because it's one building, you got walls in play. Those walls around the garage do have that underlip which can punish you, but the fact that they just push in like that, it was quite obvious that they knew what they were doing. 31 players left, 11 teams. GENISIS DOGMA waiting it out. They've played on the edge of the circle upon these shifts up north since the start of the game, to be fair. Makes sense. Now as you get into the end of phase 3, you gotta wonder where phase 4 is gonna go. Is it gonna continue to shift towards the water? Is it gonna finally isolate itself closer to the mainland? Pre-nade is fired out, missile is tickled down, and great play by Dabo. Really great play by Dabo. You get that knock. It was calculated move as Reject. We see the kill feed going up against Zeus, and Conqueror coming in from behind. Sporta has to try and get the revive and the missile that is going to work out. Unfortunately, I don't think that player from Genesis is in a position to push that, but he should reposition, in my opinion. The separation from his team, from the rest of his team, is unfortunate at this stage of the game. You're phase 4 coming into kind of phase 5. That shouldn't really be the case, in my eyes. But the next phase did go more towards the land, so a little bit of a sigh of relief, but there's very few compounds, very little cover as Divine jumps over the wall and gets taken out by Reeves. Conqueror feeling confident off the back of the squad wipe against BTR early on in the game. They only have Zeus in front of them. Giants of the world. The Mongolian team that finished so high up in the PMGC and set themselves up and have just continued to follow through, right? Run the PMPL South Asia. Man, so good. They didn't quite win the actual championship, but they did win PMPL SA. Genesis Dogma now continue to rotate or attempt to rotate into the circle, and they're low-key getting punished by RRQ, who are doing a great job of just creating that space. Genesis Dogma do still have 2 players up, but again, the fact that they spent way too long focusing on rotation is quite poor. And now Zeus using the low ground by the road, the dip of the train to peek up and shoot towards Conqueror has allowed them to put themselves in a position where it's 2v2. Zoe being quiet as a mouse, Ably creating a distraction. Rolkus and Nazi, just the 2 players up for the side of Conqueror. Nade is chucked out. That's a good nade. Don't know if he knows, but it did connect onto Zoe. It's gonna force him to go back to where it was previously. Godless has joined up. He got revived up, so the body advantage is in the favor on Zeus, and they know that. They're gonna look to play off that. Now, Reese was knocked down for a little bit of time. He's now just being confirmed. But was he knocked down enough to get the information that Godless was being revived? If he was, then that might allow him to at least provide the information. Godless is going for a bit of a deep sweep to try and get a sandwich effect onto the rest of Conqueror. Interesting, but I like the idea that Godless has on board. He's now actually wrapped around all the way into the behind area. Genesis Dogma, DRS, AJ, his last hope for his team. The rest of his teammates were taken up by Reject earlier on in the game, and Genesis Dogma get the better of him. 7 teams left, 18 players. We do finally have a full-on land mass circle in this phase with Geek Fam setting the standard. Looking for another fantastic result in this game. As he's knocked down, Rolkus is left on his own, hanging between the RVs and the wall. He's going to have to deal with a 3-man Zeus team. There's no need for him to try and disengage. He uses the pre-fire effect to get 1 knock on board, looks for another, but can't quite connect all those bullets. Ably is going to be tickled down. Godless is going to be pushing forward. Great play by Rolkus, but unfortunately too much for him to handle, and Godless utilizes a fast fire rate of the Uzi to get the better of Conqueror, and they are out of here. 6 teams left, 16 players. Time has been wasted though, and Zeus will not have a good entry into the circle in what is a very open train. Yes, there's a couple of vast sweeping differences on the elevation of the hill, but at the end of the day, it's still not going to be easy. As Genesis Dogma did connect a couple of shots to secure a knockdown initially onto RRQ. Miracle from Geek Fam puts a shot on the Lamborghini, and another couple of shots, and that is the Xavier. Boom! Taken out by Geek Fam. Happy days. The Indonesian team, Geek Fam, lighting up this lobby for the time being. Looking very healthy as they have a full squad up. The sweep of the western side of the circle, calling their own. Will they bite off more than they could chew? Well, Zeus are going to certainly have something to say about it, because they have been able to at least get an initial knockdown onto one of the Geek fam players. Godless, Zeol, and Abeli only started as a trio, but they've stuck together. They played through this game extremely well. S-Rod of iCurd, the solo star, gets a knock on to S-Star of Genesis Dogma. Doesn't want to overextend to confirm that kill just yet, but yeah, he's aware that because that was just a knock, the Genesis Dogma's teammate could still be there, but hopefully that kill feed will be noticeable for iCurd as RRQ come into third party that one and are going to control the southern edge of the circle. They might have been aware that Genesis were kind of looking in the direction of another team, so just before looting up, they just had a look in that area of the map as Zeus and Geek fam now going to go to war against each other. Great play around the rock by Godless, has to try and reload. He's gonna get knocked down though, unfortunately. Great awareness by Geek fam. There's a player on top of the hillside though from this side of Zeus that could at least stop that kill from being confirmed. It's Zul. Chucks a nade around her, but he has very little room to maneuver because of the pressure Geek fam have him under. Respectively, Abeli further away. I feel like he needs to kind of join up with Zol at this stage of the game. Look at the blown up vehicles one by the rock, creating a beautiful wall effect for Geek fam. But now with iCurd, RRQ getting closer as the circles get to the bitter end, we're going to see a four-way battle between the final four teams. Of course, one of them being a solo player, but doesn't mean he can't have an impact. Well, he won't have an impact because he's just being taken out right in front of our eyes. 3 teams left, 9 players. 3v3v3. I think, no. 4v3v2. Gotta get my maths correct. Don't want to be like Maxman. Make that a 4v2v1 because another Zeus player has gone out. The circle shifting away from him puts so much more pressure on Abeli. He has pretty much nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. He's trying to play in with the blue and allow RQ and Geek fam to start a little bit of a battle against each other in which he might be able to sweep in and be a thorn in the side for one of these teams across the board. Shots being fired up by Mortal. Baby from Geek fam does get Kapoya before Valdemar does find the last player. Zeus, we are left with our final 2 teams. 3v4. Sorry, 3v3, my apologies. At least if that knock is confirmed. Until then, I suppose it is 4v3 in the favor of RRQ. They worked wonderfully together in the last game, but now can they get the job done against Geek fam? Their respective Indonesian counterparts, should I say. In the third game of the day, the second ERANGEL one. The next circle does shift up towards the northwest. Not really in the favor of any team, to be fair. Possibly RRQ more so than Geek fam, because it feels like the cover that Geek fam created was low-key reliant on the circle staying in that position. Typical example is the cover that Baby has with those vehicles and the rock. He's able to move around a lot more heavily compared to not only his teammates, but some of the RRQ players. Time's ticking down, though. We're getting into the bitter end. 5 seconds until the blue zone starts closing in. Geek fam, at least sending a couple of their players close to each other. That makes sense. Go for a little bit of a 2-1 split, but don't forget about I'm Mortal being a sneaky snake around the open field. Could there be too much of a tunnel vision play by Geek fam? to focus on where the RRQ player is. We'll have to wait and see as Valdemort is creating a distraction on Mortal is taking his time, but the second the shots are going to be found, that's going to work out. Saiyans going to get eliminated. Geek Fam are taken out, and RRQ are going to come out on top once again in ERANGEL. That's a back-to-back chicken dinner for RRQ. Very, very good result for them. Gallon with 6 kills, Mortal with 4, Valdemort with 2, and Kapoya with 1. Geek Fam did have a very good game. The way they positioned themselves in the circle were really good. Really good indeed. Like, Geek Fam are a very intelligent team. Very intelligent team, and I think they read the circles really well. What I feel they do better than a lot of teams is preparing, for the most part at least, is having that exit strategy for the previous circle into the next circle and reacting to those shifts really well. Like you saw early on, they had that compound by the coastal line. Now, was that a little bit lucky that the next circle kind of continued to shift in that area? Yeah, but here's the thing. The second the circle shifted away from them, they reacted super quickly and they kind of set up their defensive positions. The quicker they got to their positions, the more chance and more opportunity they had to create control, right? And control can often mean kills, which can result in a strong result. Like, compared to Zeus, who in their own right had a couple of really solidly sweeping rotations, you know, they were held back with their fight against Conqueror, which in turn then hurt them coming into the next circles. And as much as they did a good effort and a good job of trying to find that space in against Geek Fam, bring RQ into the mix as well, off the back of the final, Zeus player trying to move away, and unfortunately not much Zeus could do. Never mind the fact that they only started as a 3-man team as well. But I'm so impressed by RRQ. They just control the game so well. It's like it's like they make it. They make the maps. Excuse my French. They make the maps their bitch. Basically, is what I'm trying to say. Simply put, like, I know that, you know. Oh my God, he said a swear word. But they really do such a good job of you know, even if they're a little bit later into a circle compared to Geek Fam, it's like they know that, and they're not afraid to basically go, yeah, we're gonna overtake this area. Right? They push it onto Blacklist International, typical example. They squad wiped them, and then it was like, okay, where's our next area? Okay, we control this area. And that probably definitely comes down to a level of IGLing coming out from their team. I don't know who their IGL is. If somebody wants to kind of let me know in Instagram DM, but I would definitely put that down to some really solid IGLing coming out from RRQ in that game, and in both games that they've won. I think like this was a better one game from them compared to Miramar. I feel like there was less mistakes in this game compared to Miramar. You know, you're very, very rarely gonna have a perfect game, of course, but that was just, I thought that was kind of good to point out that this game was definitely very, very few mistakes on board for RRQ. Let me actually, boom. Yeah, then we had Zeus in third, which again, considering they started as a 3-man team, getting 7 kills, it's pretty OP. iCurd in fourth, getting 7 kills. Again, I was kind of like a little bit impressed, but it was like they kind of, I know, they had a great engagement with victim SOVERS, and I questioned their motives in that moment, but they made it work out. But here's the thing, it's a little bit at that stage of the game where, and especially with where the circles had shifted, where way more teams were going to be around them, and it was a good engagement. Maybe they just took a little bit too long, as in the second they got the double kill on the players up on the Stalbar Hills, they should have sent it back down to the compound to help Laser, who ended up getting taken out, and get the squad up on the victim Sovers, and then taking 20 seconds to kind of reset, gather their thoughts, see if they can spot some information on teams rotating around in the safety of the buildings, and then they could have played it through. But as it happens, between the length of time it took and the fact that they didn't really look to reset themselves in the right way, DS did the right thing of catching them off guard and picking up 2 kills for themselves. So still good result from iCurd, but I think it could have been better if they had kept more players alive until the end. Man, such a good game. I'm feeling these games. I'm definitely feeling these games. We are getting into the last game of the day. To be fair, we're going to be, unfortunately, moving on over to Sandrock. Feels bad, man. But at least I did show the game screen right from the very start that time. I know, it's a miracle. Thank you very much to everybody for tuning in. Not gonna lie, I don't have the stream chat open on my end, so I don't know what people are saying. I hope you're all being kind to each other. It's the most important thing. And much love to everybody that is watching and, you know, supporting PUBG Mobile esports and supporting, you know, people taking time out of their day to organize and cast these scrims. You're probably struggling to hear me because I turned the music up. Shit. Sorry about that. Okay, so I've turned it down a little bit. We should be getting into this game pretty soon, but before that, I'm gonna go for a final break of the day. So without further ado, let's go for a bit of a break. But I'll put a timer on. I'll try and make that timer accurate so I'm not constantly adding to it. And I will see you all as soon as possible. Final game coming up. And we are back for the final game of the day here in the esports mania PMWI scrims with myself, Imperium. Thank you very much to everybody for sticking by and tuning in. It's the last game of the day. We're going to be in the wonderful map of Sandhawk. Unfortunately, we seem to only have 45 players for this final game of the day. It is Sandhawk, so hopefully we should still have a consistent level of entertainment either way. If not, I will look to provide you some entertainment. I'll do my best. The game's loaded in. We're getting the timer on board. We're about a minute away from starting, so hopefully we'll be able to have a good game indeed. Again, BTR, will they drop in Painan? Who was it that they dropped in Painan the last game? Was it Xavier, if I'm not mistaken? I low-key forget. Or was it DS? I think it was Xavier. Either way, I'm curious if they're going to drop in Painan again, or if they're going to switch up their drop spot for this one. Oh man. Okay, so it shouldn't be long before we start. Bingo. Just like that. Playing path on your screens is quite heavily on the west. Not going to be too much of an issue. Cause it's Sandhawk and you can pretty much get to anywhere from anywhere in terms of playing path. But it'll just require a little bit longer of a jump time if you want to drop in around the eastern side of the map with this kind of playing path. DS dropping early to go to Cow and Tatmock. Geek fam going for a pretty heavy split drop around the mountain on the northwest island. BTR and it was Xavier. Okay, I thought I had it right. So BTR and Xavier both seem to be heading towards Painan. Good few teams dropping in boot camp. You have EVOS, the only player of Conqueror, should I say, in DRS with Reject in the warehouses, looking to maybe join in on the fun as soon as they recognize an opportunity to strike. iCurd is sweeping on that split drop between the Trifecta Island and between the Trifecta compound and the kind of boot camp hill area. Let's see if that'll work out for them. It hasn't. Sorry, that's someone else, and that's GENISIS DOGMA onto one of the victim SOVERS players to get an early kill. GENISIS DOGMA kind of dropped in between Bootcamp Hill and Painan, so a lot of teams dropping on the central areas. Okay, are you guys gonna take each other out, or are you just ignoring each other? Either way, the Xavier on the other side going up against the rest of the BTR side. A knock has been pulled off the bag at least, and Zuxi will go inside the house off the back of one of the Xavier players. Knocked down. Lamborghini throws out some cover fires. Luxi gonna be rocking that M16 wrap around on the backstab. Beautiful play by Zuxi. Fantastic movement from him. Big brain play on board inside the corner. DBS to the face. Get out of here, my son. Well, that's 12k, but either way, a shotgun in his hands leaves Frankie left in his own. BTR rocking it through in the early parts of Sandhawk. DRS Mafia Ninja onto Reject as well. So curious what's happening down there, and Reject may be moving up from the warehouses of boot camp a little bit too early around that. EVOS as well helping them as BTR push in. That's going to be an instant squad wipe, and we'll join back over now to this fight between EVOS and DRS. EVOS Mafia Ninja is taking out Nima. Is the only one that's left standing. EVOS have been able to get the better of Reject. So has EVOS been able to get the better of DRS, and that is EVOS starting this game off really strongly with a number of kills. I know Reject, they were aided, you know, EVOS were aided with DRS in taking out Reject. But for them to EVOS turn around and clap DRS in the cheeks, it does show the strength of EVOS across the board, as GENISIS DOGMA can't do too much, as they bought and booms the 2 players left up the phase 1 circle. Not really too much to talk about in terms of like phase 1 circle, because there's such a lack of players left in the lobby. 8 teams, 27 players alive, like, and with the majority of them somewhat in the center of this phase 1 circle, means we could have a very, very quite early game depending on how these teams want to clash up against each other. Blacklist International haven't really had the best of days today. A couple of moments, but compared to yesterday, maybe not as strong. That could be down to, I don't know, trying different things, etc, or whatever you want to call it. Just realized I hadn't turned the music down, so I have turned it down now. Let me turn in-game volume up a little bit. Blacklist International getting very close to ICURD. ICURD did lose a player early on, Ali, off the back of that split drop. But now the pre-fire shots trying to put pressure on the Blacklist, but Blacklist make it work as Laser Blazer Taser is knocked down. S-Rod up on board with the M249, finds one. Can't quite find a second, but Gallagher, the last player up, could do something around this on that sidelines. Looking for a lap pass. He's jumping proning as he gets closer, and with perfect timing it could work out for him. EVOS lose a player off the hands of a mix of both Blacklist International and one of the victim SOVERS players, as far as I know, after disengagement away from boot camp, as they make their way up the hill to try and join in on the fun that's coming on through between ICURD and Blacklist. It is just Gallagher left on his own. Pre-fire shots work out. I knew that was gonna happen. Keon's with the UMP gets the better of him. Camu, Microboyne, Lizard. 3 players left up for EVOS REBORN, as a grenade is fired up the top of the hill towards Blacklist. And credit to Blacklist, because they've been under so much like pressure. Well, not pressure, but in the last kind of 2 minutes they've been in the thick of it. And Microboy with the M249 does find Kaons. Traded up as Microboy also rocks up the Vector, but in the end it becomes too much for him to handle, as Alas is going to get the better of them, and the savior of the moment in that team fight, EVOS REBORN, live to fight another day, and he'll even get the revive onto his knocked down teammate. 16 players up coming into barely the end of phase 1. It's the last game of these scrims, and you have to love it, man. Like I said, we could have a very, very passive early game. Well, neither that, or to be fair, this game is going to be over extremely quickly, because there's nobody like outside or on the edge of the circle. Pretty much everybody is in between the trifecta compound and boot camp, right? Trifecta compound, Painan, and boot camp. That's where the remaining 16 players are. You can see it right on the mini-map down on the bottom right. No one else is like around there, so to speak. I think Daybot doesn't know what he wants to do as Booms is trying to move away in time. Away from BTR to try and get to his teammates. DS going through boot camp. If only they know the hell that's gone through this area for the time being. Shots are being fired up. Geek fam now looking to wake up and take down EVOS Reborn. But not if Camu has anything to say about it. He peeks up, gets a knock. Now he's going to heal up in time, but he has to move away and reposition because a nade is being thrown at by Miracle. Fortunately, a little bit too late. Smoke is chucked out as well to try and give a line of defense to Geek fam towards the lower part of the hill. Sanez is back up on his feet. Evos know that they have that body disadvantage. Unfortunately, the separation forces Lizard to get caught out. The last player from EVOS Reborn is prone down in his sniper tower, and here's the thing that could work out because DS have come up the hill past boot camp to take a fight against Geek fam, and then there's a team behind them. Genesis Dogma as well trying to join in on the fun. Camu is able to pick off Miracle even though he's on his own. He's still looking for a fight. The last player from EVOS Reborn looking to have a bit of fun. Boom is knocked down. Missile onto Camu will see EVOS Reborn being taken out of this game. DS, the Korean side. We may only have 5 teams and 12 players up, but my god, this is an entertaining game as Missile jump shots his way in, looks for another, does get knocked down, but Booms is now left on his own as the DS squad provide the cover. Luxie is trying to heal up, Ryzen is on the other side. Missile is getting revived up. Luxie is found out. Satan goes in on the engagement while his teammates getting revived. That was a little bit of an F. However, ZZP is going to get the final blow. 3 teams left, 6 players, and we're 11 minutes into the game. This has got to be like the quickest, somewhat competitive game I've ever casted in Sanhok and across all 3 maps. This is crazy. Like, my god, Ryzen goes down and we're left with our final 2 teams. DS going up against the side of Victim Sovers. It is 3v2 up on the boot camp hill where so much damage and blood has been spread across the lobby in this game so far, and it's fitting that the game will end on this hill. Started as it means to go on, die on top of the hill that you conquered a number of teams around you. ZZP is put down to a small amount of health at the hands of a beautiful grenade, chucked up another one in the direction of DS. Doesn't quite connect, but it is slowing down the DS boys. The end of the day, Sparta is behind, as far as I know, behind the players. Behind the players of Victim Sovers, so he could get a bit of a backstab on board. Still, Fajar doing a wonderful job, looking for the shots off, has the prone down in time. Missile does it before, but a knock is secured. ZZP stands up, but it is gonna be the final player taken out. And DS are your chicken dinner winners for the final game of the day. An absolute bloodbath in no time at all. I think that was a 13-minute game in total. I said, hey, we may have only had 45 players, but we'd make it hella entertaining, and I'd like to think the players did, so credit to them. A wild game. I don't really know what to make of it, to be honest. There's not too much to break down, but DS come out on top. Good game for them. 6, 8, 9 kills in total. You had the side of the Victim Sova in second place with 3 kills. BTR in third with 4 kills, all coming from Luxie alone, by the way. Genesis Dogma in fourth with 4 kills. Geek Fam in fifth with 2 kills. EVOS Reborn in sixth with 10 kills. Considering 45 players joined the lobby and they had 10 of the kills, that's pretty much a quarter of the lobby taken out from them. So you can't really go wrong with that. Blacklist International with 4 kills. iCurd in 8th with 2 kills. DRS in 9th with 2 kills. Azzy from Conqueror 10th. He only started the game on his own. He did pick up a kill. Credit to him. But still 10th. And DX in 11th with 1 kill. And fortunately Reject Scarlet, it didn't work out for them. And they finished in 12th place. That's the thing. Only 12 teams joined the lobby. 45 players. But my God, was it entertaining. Just insane. I don't really know what to say. Look, you know, maybe you shouldn't have had the 4th game. To be fair, maybe it should have only been 3 games. I know the players are trying to deal with a couple of ping issues and whatnot, and the organizers are doing what they can to solve it, so to speak. But you know what? Credit to all teams for showing up when they did, and whoever did show up and performing in the scrims. And thank you to everybody for, you know, watching and tuning in and hopefully having a little bit of fun along the way. It was great fun to cast, and to be fair, the second and third game especially were seriously kick-ass. I loved the Miramar game, and the second ERANGEL game to me were really kind of big brain moments in that, and I loved it. So yeah, thank you so much, guys. I'm not going to waste your day or evening anymore, and I will look to end the stream. But again, please feel free to follow me on Instagram at EVT_Imperium. I also know that the channel reached 6k subscribers, so thank you very much for getting the channel to 6k subs. More PMWI scrims coming up tomorrow. I don't think I'm going to be streaming them because I am pretty busy tomorrow, but hopefully someone else or a duo will be filling in for me. But either way, have a lovely evening, stay safe, stay awesome, treat each other with kindness, spread love, please, as much as you can. My name's been Imperium. Thank you so much to Esports Mania and everyone behind the scenes organizing these things. Stay safe. See you guys soon.